Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael and we're going to be getting right back into some more Reddit stories. If you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Now, without further ado, let's begin. This story was posted by a user named Helpful Listen in the AITAH subreddit. The post is titled, "Would I be the jerk for telling my wife to show me her phone after I got an email accusing her of cheating? I, 47M, have a comfortable and fulfilling life. I have a job I truly enjoy, I live in a nice suburb, and am blessed with 3 wonderful children, M8, F6, F4, and a lovely wife, Emily, 45. I've always felt Emily and I were an ideal match. However, a recent email I received has deeply unsettled me and planted a seed of doubt in my mind. Emily lived in the UK between 2010 and 2015, during which time she pursued a PhD. Because she lived there so long, she developed many close friendships and has made it a point to return every couple of years to maintain those ties. This past August, she traveled to the UK for 3 weeks to attend the wedding of one of her close friends. After some consideration, we agreed that it would be best for me and the children to remain at home, as I could not take that much time away from work, and the children were unlikely to find much enjoyment in such an event. Emily departed, returned as expected, and life returned to normal for us. Last week, I received an email on my work email address. It was supposedly from the wife of Emily's friend, I'll call him Jake, 44. According to this woman, she has a very strong reason to suspect that Jake and Emily engaged in an affair. She listed off her suspicions, noting Jake had picked Emily up from the airport, spent considerable time at her hotel, and how the two of them frequently went out to dinner alone. She even included pictures of my wife's earrings that she said she found in Jake's pockets when she was doing the laundry, and pictures of a lipstick stain on his shirt. The color is one I recognize as something Emily often wears. There is some other evidence she listed off. For the sake of conciseness, I will not include them here. All this was a lot to absorb, and for a while, I thought it was some sort of joke. So I tried my best to ignore it, but it kept coming back into my mind. I remember that before her trip, my wife would talk to all her friends there. I don't know if this email is influencing my memory, but I think she probably spoke with Jake the most. Additionally, I know Emily never liked Jake's wife, though I can't say why. I've never pried into Emily's phone or social media accounts before, but I feel very tempted to now. However, I know I'd feel terrible if I looked and found nothing. Also, if I start acting suspicious, wouldn't she just delete everything out of fear of being found out? I'm unsure of how to move forward and would welcome any guidance on handling this. The best I can currently come up with is asking to see her phone immediately after confronting her about it, so as to not give her time to delete anything, though part of me thinks this would upset her and potentially not even show anything. WIBTA for telling my wife to show me her phone after I got an email accusing her of cheating. Edit, I forgot to include, my wife no longer has these earrings. She wasn't wearing them when she returned, and when I asked, she said she lost them. I do not think OP would be a jerk here if he confronted his wife about the issue. It's normal and fine for a couple to present their concerns to each other. I also believe it is in a couple's best interest to put their trust in their partner above other people. However, I wouldn't outright reveal this information to her either. I think it would be wiser to just keep it low-key, while OP does a bit of non-intrusive digging. On the chance that his partner is having an affair, he wouldn't want her to have the opportunity to prepare and cover her tracks. Once, or if OP gets evidence that does support the idea of an affair, then he can sit down and lay out all of his cards. User Virtual Instance said, your first point of contact should be Jake's wife. Get the full details of her evidence and have her mail one of the earrings to you. She'll probably want to keep one as evidence on her side. Discuss with Jake's wife what she plans to do with her marriage to Jake. Ask her if she knows anything about your wife's prior trips to Europe and especially about your wife's time as a grad student there. In particular, ask Jake's wife if she has an ability to access Jake's email, phone, and messaging apps. If she can, ask her to share it with you, then coordinate with Jake's wife on when you will confront your spouses. You do not want Jake's wife to confront Jake before you confront Emily, since Jake can then warn Emily and she can clean all her email, phone, and accounts. I am presuming that you have no ability to examine Emily's email, phone, or messaging accounts without her approval. Once you have received the earring from Jake's wife, you can confront your wife. Start by asking her how and where she lost the earrings. After she entangles herself in whatever story she makes up, you can produce the earring and state that since she is lying about fundamental aspects of her relationship with Jake, you would like her to open all her email, phone, and messaging accounts for you to examine. She will vociferously object. You will tell her that either she does this or you lose all trust in her and your marriage is over. Tell her that you can forgive cheating even if you can't, but dishonesty is unforgivable and that she needs to go full open kimono if there is to be any chance of saving the marriage. Depending on the domestic family laws in your state, you can also waive child custody issues in front of her. She'll either go ballistic and into full fortress mode or eventually let you look at her accounts after many tears are shed. At that point, you'll have the information you need to make your next move. User Radish Slaw said NTA. Have an adult conversation. Start by explaining you have an email from an unknown person which accuses her of an affair and go from there. Unless you are happy to live with the suspicion, you will be having this conversation at some time, so you might as well get it over with. User Another TD said she definitely cheated on you, leaving her husband and 3 kids for 3 weeks to attend a wedding. How long was the damn wedding? She probably decided on 3 weeks because she knew you wouldn't be able to go, but it's not as absurd as leaving her family for a full month. Nearly 2 weeks later, OP gave us an update. A few hours after sharing my first post, I confronted Emily. She confirmed my fears. She claims she's in love with Jake and can't live a lie any longer. She still claims to love me and the kids, but says she can't stay with us any longer. According to her, she was waiting for a better time to tell me and the children. Apparently, this has been going on since March, with Jake flying out here occasionally and Emily secretly meeting him. We are getting divorced. Emily is moving to the UK soon. She confirmed that in August, in addition to the wedding, she attended a job interview and she's set to start around the new year. She's already applied for a British visa. She plans to live with Jake once she moves. As for custody, Emily is voluntarily surrendering her chance of full custody. She doesn't want to uproot the kids, so they'll stay here in Canada with me. There's a part of me that appreciates that decision, but there's also the part that is astonished at how easily she's walking away. She wants to pay child support, but I'd rather raise my children without her financial influence. That said, the court will likely insist on support, regardless of my feelings. Emily is also seeking structured visitation rights, which, given the circumstances, will likely be granted. Based on what I've been told, the court generally leans toward arrangements that allow both parents to maintain relationships with the children even when one is relocating to a different country. The lawyers are still working out the details, but it seems she'll have visitation during school breaks and holidays, with the possibility of virtual calls in between. I've been keeping things as amicable as possible, and the more cooperative I am, the more Emily seems to agree with my demands. We are also discussing the future of our home. Emily has expressed a desire to sell the property and divide the proceeds. While I am reluctant to part with the family home, it is unlikely I have much of a choice since it was bought during our marriage. For now, our lawyers are still working through the details and no final decisions have been made. Given the situation, it could be a good while before we reach a resolution. In the meantime, I've been advised not to make any major financial moves. As much as I want to stay here with the children, I know selling is most likely inevitable. As of this writing, Emily is in an Airbnb and Jake has flown here to stay with her. They plan on traveling to the UK at some point in the near future. My lawyer tells me that adultery isn't grounds for special treatment when it comes to custody or property division. Therefore, it won't influence how assets are divided unless marital funds are directly involved. Emily likely used money from her personal account. Unless it can be proven she used our joint finances to fund the affair, it's unlikely this will make any difference in court. I have been in regular communication with Jake's soon-to-be ex-wife Eleanor, primarily through email, and more recently, we've spoken over the phone a few times. Eleanor apologized, saying she felt guilty for telling me about the affair and worried that if she hadn't, maybe my marriage could have been salvaged. I reassured her that for me, the gravity of the situation made divorce inevitable, and I'd rather not remain in the dark about something of this significance. She even sent me messages and other evidence of their relationship, but since Emily is openly admitting to the affair, it doesn't really matter in the context of the law. Eleanor has also told me a lot about Jake. Apparently, this is the 3rd time he's cheated on her and she's had enough. There's no chance of reconciliation this time, she says, and he doesn't seem interested in trying. She mentioned that Jake has zero desire to raise children who are not biologically his, which explains why Emily's not fighting for custody. Eleanor's divorce will most likely be much longer and more drawn out than mine, given that both she and Jake want full custody of their children and can't agree on several other issues. I haven't had much time to process everything. These past 2 weeks have felt like a blur in every way, but one thing I can say with certainty is that I have nothing left for Emily, not because she betrayed our marriage, but because of how easily she's walking away from our children. I never thought I could hate someone I once loved so much. It's a strange feeling. The hardest part in all of this is the children. My 2 youngest daughters have started asking why their mother isn't around as much anymore, and it's been very difficult trying to communicate with them about the nature of the situation. My eldest seems to understand a little more, and as a result, he has become quiet and withdrawn. I'm fortunate to have a family that has been incredibly supportive so far. My children have received numerous thoughtful letters from some of their cousins, which I've been reading to them each night. All my siblings have also sent gifts for the kids, and one of my brothers, along with his wife, drove up to visit over the past weekend. My sister-in-law even prepared plenty of food, some of which is still in the freezer. They also kept the children entertained while I met with my lawyer. My other siblings have also offered to come by and look after the kids whenever I need them. Beyond that, my parents have been calling daily to check in on us, and my 78-year-old mother has already made plans to stay with us for 2 weeks in November to help around the house. The collective effort of my family has made this experience much more bearable, and I'm deeply grateful for all their support. To everyone who encouraged me to speak with Emily after my last post, I'm grateful. I was tempted to ignore Eleanor's message, but it kept gnawing at me. Your advice gave me the courage to act. Emily has shown herself to be a liar, and I have no doubt that her idea of a better time was simply when it would cause the least inconvenience for her and Jake. User Taiwan Bandit said, "So sorry for the outcome here, OP. I had not expected her to just drop the marriage and take off with Jake, a known cheater. Can't imagine that relationship will last long, and your wife walking away from her kids to be with him is beyond the pale. Continue to listen to your lawyers, be amicable to get the best settlement, and take care of your kids. Good, you have a supporting family. Thanks for the update. I wish you and your kids well." Under this comment, another user said, "She won't realize what she's done until the relationship with Jake falls apart and she's alone in another country and has kids across the ocean that resent her. It will be a rude wake-up call." User Rocket MN said, "Take her support payments and put them into accounts for the kids. Keep investing it for them and give it to them when they are 30. Hopefully, they will be in a good place where the money will really help them." User Ty Good Life said, "She is in the affair fog. There's a 90% chance that within the next few years, she'll realize what a mistake she has made, especially regarding the children. Plus, if he's a serial cheater, he'll cheat on her when the new relationship excitement wears off. You can almost set your watch by these kinds of cheaters. Don't ever take her back." User Salt Finding said, "She's so pathetic." He says, "I don't want your kids, but I'll fight for mine." And she bends over and agrees to abandon them. Watch her life implode when he eventually cheats on her. She'll come running back claiming she missed you and the kids. Speak to your lawyer to get her to sign over full parental control and lose parental responsibility, as she'll use them as blackmail to worm her way back in. As soon as your lawyer says it's time, cut all remaining financial ties with her." User Mother Search said, "She is packing up, leaving you and her children for her affair partner, leaving the country and taking no responsibility for her children. And she wants to sell the house from under the children she is abandoning and doesn't give a f where they are going to live because she wants money to go live with her affair partner. Where exactly does she think she will be getting those custody visits from? Where will they be video calling her from? And how are you and your lawyer even agreeing to that level of madness? The courts are going to agree with her custodial rights with zero consideration for where the custodial parent will live with the children, or is it just you rolling over and playing dead with no consideration for your children and the upheaval in their lives? This next story was made in the entitled parent subreddit by a user named Body by Art. TLDR, entitled "Mom tries to steal my baby, gets what she deserves." This happened when my daughter was about 4 months old. Let's meet the wonderful and not so wonderful cast. Me, BB, my daughter, EM entitled Mom, EB entitled Mom's B spawn, around 5 years old. Setting, local coffee shop. One afternoon after our mommy and me yoga class. I know, sounds dumb, but a great way to meet mommy friends. Me and BB decided to get a coffee and catch up. Well, I would get coffee, she would get that sweet, sweet booby milk. Well, BB, lightweight that she is, passes out after that boob milk. I decide to be wild and get that second cup of coffee. I'm drinking my second cup of coffee when a wild EK and EM appear. EK, "Aw, a baby." I smile, but go back to reading the news and sipping my coffee. When I look up, EK is trying to pick up my sleeping baby. I panicked, obviously. Me: "No, no, no, no." EM: "She wasn't hurting her." EK: "I want to hold the baby." Me: "She's sleeping and you're too little to hold her, honey. She's heavy." EM: "Just let her hold her. EK is very mature." Me: "She's not a baby doll. No." EM: "You don't have to be a bitch." Me: "Excuse me?" During this time, EK tried to pick up BB and woke her up, so BB starts crying. I pick her up and start hushing her. Me: "See what you did? Leave us alone." EM: "She just wants my daughter to hold her." Me: "Get away." EM: "Just let her hold her." Me: "Help." At this point, the coffee shop employees jump in and pull her away. One of them says that they called the police. EM's nose is bleeding. EK is sobbing. I kind of feel bad for the kid. She's pretty little, but her mom should teach her better. The employees ask us to stay and wait for police. EM: "Good, she assaulted me and traumatized my child." BB is still crying, so I give her that boob. EM: "She's exposing herself to a child." I ignore her and BB finally calms down. The police came and asked us each what happened. EM: "She exposed herself to my daughter and assaulted me." Me: "That isn't true. She tried to steal my baby. I was just protecting her. Luckily, the coffee place had cameras. She got arrested for attempted kidnapping. I have to go to court for it next month." Update: we go to court on April 14th for the criminal charges against EM for attempted kidnapping. I didn't expect to update before then, but then this happened. DG is delivery/disguised guy, EM is entitled mom, and EK is entitled kid. Me and BB went to the park this morning. We got back around 11 a.m. There was a man standing on our porch looking lost. BB was in her stroller sleeping. I put my hand in my purse and onto my mace. Me: "Can I help you?" DG: "I'm looking for X. I have a package for her." He pulls out a thick envelope. Me: "I'm her. I can take it." As soon as it is in my hands and I sign for it, DG rips off his fake mustache and delivery guy hat, revealing his real identity: a legal intern. DG: "Cool, cool, cool. You're being sued, by the way. Good luck." That's right, I'm being sued by EM. Why would the woman who tried to snatch my baby be suing me? How much damage could I have inflicted? Well, apparently I did 25,000 USD in damage. In this poor envelope was about 10 million pages detailing how she is suing me for everything that is wrong in her life. Apparently, I had broken her nose, so she's suing me for not only related medical bills, but she also wants me to pay for them to fix her pre-existing toad nose. And of course, emotional damages to her and her child. Apparently, EM has anxiety and depression because of me. EK has PTSD from the incident. Finally, I'm also being sued for slander and character assassination, because how dare I say she tried to steal my baby? Of course, at the end, she said she would be willing to settle out of court if I would drop the criminal charges. Well, I took that letter to my lawyer and he said the judge would laugh her out of court, especially if the criminal trial goes in our favor, which is basically guaranteed. So I will be seeing her in court on April 14th and I will see her again in July for the civil case. User Shadows in Times has said, "What is wrong with people? Seriously, what the hell?" That reminds me of an old friend, so just to share, I knew a person, a mother, who had that happen to her toddler. I think she was a year old. A strange woman just walked right over and picked her daughter right up and out of the shopping cart one trip, and the mother came rushing right over and told her, "What the hell are you doing? Let go of my kid." The woman, like in your post, was oblivious to how screwed up it is to touch someone else's child and said, "I just wanted to hold her, she's so cute." She told me she was about to whoop her one, but let it slide and left. Anyhow, that's screwed up and I hope you win because nobody should be handling your child without permission but you. Like common sense, right? But some people just don't get it. User Momo said, "I had a lady take my baby out of her car seat carrier at Target. She was in the big section of the cart in her seat but not strapped in as I was alternating between holding her and pushing her. An older lady comes along and just scoops her right up. When I panic and grab her back, the lady says, 'I just love babies.' And I say something like, 'I don't know you. You should never touch a stranger's baby.' And she said, and I quote, 'Oh, relax. Babies belong to everyone. Not my baby, you space cadet.' Firstly, thanks everyone for the support and love. I can't wait to tell BB about all of this when she gets older. Wednesday, we found out the verdict on EM, TLDR at end. So let's meet the cast. J, judge. EM entitled mom, ED entitled dad, EK entitled kid, jury, the jury, P, prosecutor, EL, EM's lawyer, me, Mr. my darling husband. Scene. This chapter opens April 15th, 2019, approximately 9:30 a.m. We are at our local courthouse. Me and Mr. had dropped off BB at his mother's. I had considered bringing her and breastfeeding while EM was on the stand just to irritate her, but I didn't think an 8-month-old would be able to sit quietly for that long. Instead, I brought my 384-month-old husband. We went to the courthouse and I will admit I was nervous. We took our seats behind the prosecutor and we were chatting with her. EM enters with her lawyer and if looks could kill, I would be dead. The judge and jury enter and we are ready to get started. As we are getting started, the judge is interrupted by ED and EK entering the courtroom in possibly the noisiest way to enter a room. Disclaimer, these were 3 very long, very stressful days, so I will be paraphrasing a lot. J. EM, you are charged with attempted kidnapping, first-degree assault, disturbing the peace, and disorderly conduct. How do you plead? EM, Your Honor, I am 100% innocent. In fact, I am outraged that I stand accused of wrongdoing. I am a proud American and the biggest supporter of these proud, fair, and just. J, please sit down. EM, but J, now. J, we will now proceed to opening statements. Prosecutor, P, lays out the case, succinctly explaining that EM was a dangerous woman who attempted to rip a small baby from its mother's arms. EM, screaming, no, 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 that isn't true. J, EL, tell EM to be quiet. P, continue. P, there is clear, indisputable evidence that EM is guilty on all counts. The prosecutor wraps up his opening statement in about 5 minutes, explaining that the whole situation was caught on tape and that the evidence will speak for itself. The defense's opening statement was about 40 minutes long. He gave this creature's whole life story. She couldn't possibly be guilty. She was your typical suburban soccer mom, president of her HOA, active in her church. Apparently, because the statements established character, they weren't off topic enough to make the judge tell EL to shut up and sit down. EL talked so long that after they concluded, the judge dismissed us for the day. We come back the second day and before the trial starts, my husband goes and grabs us a cup of pure caffeine from a booth in the courthouse. He's putting his cream and sugar in it when ED approaches. ED, hey man, how are you doing? Mr, fine. ED, this whole mess is crazy. Mr, yup. ED, look man, what will happen to my daughter if her mom goes to jail? It's not good for a kid. Mr, yeah, that's rough. Sorry. ED, well, you could tell your wife to drop the charges, do what's best for the kids. Mr, yeah, I'm not gonna do that. ED, come on man, be reasonable. Mr, if your wife was reasonable, we wouldn't even be here. ED, fuck you, N-word. Mr, get out of here, man. The second day of court starts. Prosecution lays out the evidence, including the tape, calls witnesses, and all that prosecution stuff. When the prosecution calls witnesses, the defense also gets to ask them questions. They were trying to cast doubt on all of the witnesses, I guess to make it seem like it was all a witch hunt against entitled mom. Finally, it was my turn to testify and be questioned. I told my story for the prosecution, then this foolishness ensued. EL, it seems like you were the first to raise your voice. Would you say that is accurate? Me, I suppose so. L, so that would make you the instigator. Me, I don't think. EL, cuts me off. You claim that EM assaulted you. Me, yes. EL, did EM strike you at any point during this altercation? Me, well, not exactly strike. EL, did you strike EM at any point? Me, yes, but it was 2. EL, the jury will notice that this woman has admitted to not only being the instigator, but also the aggressor in this situation. After the prosecution lays out their evidence, it is the defense's turn. It is at this point EM takes the stand. EM tells her twisted version of events. According to her, her daughter had seen my baby and had approached me to tell me how beautiful BB was. In response to this totally innocent interaction, I began verbally abusing EK. She attempted to calm me, but this backfired. When I violently snatched up BB, she couldn't help but notice that it was very unlikely that BB was mine. Seeing an unstable woman snatching up an innocent, probably kidnapped BB, EM just had to intervene. When she did, I viciously attacked her. So day 3 is verdict and sentencing. On the charge of attempted kidnapping, the jury decided that there was not enough evidence to conclude that she wanted to kidnap BB, not guilty. On the charge of assault, the jury was not convinced by her lawyer's attempts to demonize me. Guilty. Disturbing the peace and disorderly conduct, the tapes and witnesses led to a guilty verdict. Now, we get to the part you all have been waiting for, sentencing. EM was sentenced to 18 months of probation, 40 hours of community service, 30 hours of anger management, and $730 in fines. This all goes on her criminal record, and if she violates her probation or does not do what is required, she will spend those 18 months in prison. While I know many of us were hoping for jail time, I am satisfied with this outcome, and I think it is fair. We left feeling pretty good. We have to go back to court in a few months for the civil case.